When people think of Italian food, they think pizza, pasta, and gelato. But Sicily's over here throwing pistachios on everything and basically calling a slushy in bread breakfast. The island's food is wild because its history is too. Greek, Arab, Spanish, you taste it all. We spent weeks eating our way across the entire island, from chaotic street markets to seaside towns, so you don't waste a single meal. Here are the 10 things you need to try if you want to truly experience Sicily through its food. Number 1 is Granita with brioche, which you will find all across the island. This is what Sicilians eat for breakfast. So the Granita kind of reminds us of if a slushy and gelato had a baby texture-wise. It's a little bit icy, but it's still somehow really creamy. And then you scoop it and you put it in this really buttery, soft brioche bun. Looks like it has a base and then like a top hat, kind of like a little snowman. And you'll find different flavors of the Granita, like fruit flavors or nut flavors, pistachio, almond, etc., etc. One of the most traditional pairings is mixing coffee and almond Granita and then putting it in your bun. We did think it was going to be strange to put like a kind of a slushy gelato thing inside a bun, and we did think the fruit flavors was like a little bit weird, but we really like the nut flavors in the bun, so pistachio and almond were our favorite. But you're on vacation, so you should try both and see for yourself. Number 2 needs no introduction. It's the most iconic Sicilian dessert, maybe even iconic Italian dessert, and that is a cannoli. Crispy, crunchy fried shell filled with creamy ricotta cheese and these little pieces of chocolate chip or pistachio or orange peel on top. So I have a few pro tips for you. Number 1 is learn how to say it right. Don't look like a tourist. A lot of us Americans say cannoli all the time. I'm gonna have a cannoli, you're gonna have a cannoli, we're gonna get a cannoli. And if you want to look more like a local and look like you actually tried to say it properly, the singular version is a cannolo. So you would say, I'm gonna have a cannolo. Cannoli is the plural version, which I mean, you're on vacation, so if you wanna always have plural cannolis and get multiple, more power to you. Number 2 is to look for the places that stuff the cannoli shells fresh. So you'll see in the bakery, you'll see just cannoli shell and you'll be like, where's the filling? And that is because a truly good, authentic cannoli spot will keep the ricotta filling in the fridge so it stays really cold and better. And then also the cannoli shell doesn't get soggy because it's been filled in the morning and sitting there all day. So you may want to look for a place that will stuff it as you order. We actually didn't even think we liked cannoli before coming to Sicily. And then we had a fresh one and Caleb and I were like, okay, life changed. This is amazing. It truly is a game changer. You will find delicious cannoli all over Sicily, but there is this teeny tiny mountain town called Piana del Albanese that's known to have some of the best cannoli all over the island. And because my husband Caleb and I are a couple who is literally traveling the world just for food and to help you find the most authentic foodie experiences and avoid the tourist traps, we took a detour there to try the cannoli, and I have to say it was totally worth it. If avoiding tourist traps and finding the best local foodie experiences sounds like your vibe, then hit subscribe. Number 3 also probably needs no introduction, and that is arancchini. You will find these all across the island. It is Sicily's best street food snack or lunch if you have multiple. It's a little rice ball filled with cheese or ragu and then deep fried, so it's crispy, crunchy, but soft on the inside with that epic cheese pull, which you will probably see all over your Instagram. They are incredible and they're really cheap. But another pro tip if you want to look more like a local, Aranchchini is the plural version no matter where you are on the island. But if you want to say it correctly, then if you're on the eastern side of the island, so Catania or that area, you will say arancino with an A. And if you're on the western side of the island, such as like Palermo, you will say arancina with an A for a singular version. If you say it the wrong way on either side of the island, you'll get some very loving, corrective Italian hand gestures. Number 4 is one you will also find all across the island, but it does really come from Catania, and that is where we had the best version of pasta alla norma. This is a really simple pasta dish with fried eggplant because everything in Sicily is fried, tomato sauce, sometimes basil, and a little bit of ricotta salata, which is like a harder version of the soft ricotta cheese, and it's much saltier. This is really the definition of Sicily's food is kind of cucina povera, which is the idea of poor man's cooking. Really simple ingredients, but elevated with big, bold flavors, and that's exactly what you get with pasta alla norma. It looks really simple, only has a handful of ingredients, but my gosh, it has so much flavor. This is one of our favorite Italian pasta dishes, so much that we now make it at home. So make sure you do not leave Sicily without trying it. Number 5 is pesto alla trapanese, which comes from the western side of the island in the cute little town of Trapani. So when Americans think of pesto, we think of the green Genovese pesto, but pesto alla trapanese is kind of what would happen if that pesto went to Sicily on vacation and never returned. It is a version of pesto, but instead of being made with pine nuts, it's made with almonds, and then it is made with some tomato and garlic and a little bit of basil as well. So it has this really rich, nutty flavor with that nice kind of sweetness from the tomato. And you're typically going to find it served with bucciati pasta, which looks like little corkscrews. This is really what happened back in the day when sailors came over from mainland Italy and then tried to recreate their pesto with Sicilian ingredients. So it really is Sicily in a bowl. Number 6 is Modica chocolate, which comes from the southern Sicilian town of Modica, which is absolutely beautiful. So you have to go just to see it, but also to eat the chocolate. It has one of the most unique textures we've ever had. And there's this really crumbly kind of sandy texture that's actually meant to be there on purpose. Modica's been making chocolate this way for centuries, so go try all the chocolate. There's a lot of places to go and just be able to sample. And then you can find just plain or infused with local ingredients and local flavors. This is a really good one to bring home, so you can bring back the taste of Sicily because it does travel very well. Number 7 is the ugliest pasta that we've ever fallen head over taste buds for, and that is pasta con la sarde. It has this really interesting flavor mix of pine nuts, fennel, sardines, raisins, saffron, and toasted breadcrumbs. So it's kind of sweet, tangy, salty, rich, umami. It looks like just a brown blob on noodles, but it honestly is going to knock your taste buds off your head. These flavor combos trace back to Sicily's era bruo when ingredients like raisins, pine nuts, and saffron were introduced and then blended with local seafood and wild fennel. So just like the pasta, this is another one that kind of tastes like Sicily on a plate. Number 8 is one of Sicily's best street food snacks or lunches called Scotcha, which comes from the southern part of the island, typically Ragusa, but you will also find it in Modica. It kind of reminds us of if lasagna, pizza, and a sandwich had a baby, because it's kind of rolled and folded in on itself, this kind of thin bread, and then it's stuffed with tomato, cheese, eggplant, sometimes some breadcrumbs. It's really cheap and it's on the go, and you can find it in any bakery. You take it and eat it at room temperature. It is traditionally eaten and made around Christmas and family gatherings, but you will find it all over now. And this one also goes back to Cassina povera, which again, the idea of peasant food, because it was a dish that was a handhold that was packed with nutrition, flavor, easy to take on lunch, kind of like the olden day version of Sicilian meal prep. Number 9 is another Sicilian street food that is most commonly found around Palermo called Spinion. This is kind of like Sicily's version of a pizza, but don't say that to them because they're gonna say it's not pizza. The name translates to thick sponge because the focaccia base is a little bit thicker and spongier than other focaccias that you might have had. And there is not a thick topping of cheese or anything like that. It's just topped with onions, breadcrumbs, a hint of salty Caciocavallo cheese, sometimes some anchovies as well. It's savory, it's sweet, it's really good to just grab and go. You eat it at room temperature. We absolutely love this one. Number 10 is Involini di pesce spada, which you will find everywhere all across the island. Pesce spada is swordfish, which is one of the most common seafoods you will see on Sicilian menus, but involtini is actually a swordfish roll. So swordfish is pounded thin and then stuffed with breadcrumbs, pine nuts, and currants. Again, thanks to that kind of Arab influence. And this again goes back to the times of cucina povera, poor man's cooking, where they had these more expensive, luxurious ingredients, but then stretched them further by using cheap, local, accessible things to kind of round it out. But knowing what to eat is only half the battle. Now you need to know the best places across the entire island to find all of these foods. So make sure you watch our traditional Sicilian foodie road trip video next right here, where we take you coast to coast to try all these dishes and more, so you have the most delicious and memorable trip.